Just so I can get everything set up here. Keep expecting there's one more step that I have to go through before it goes live, and there's not. And that's just how it is. So I always think there's one more prompt coming, and there just isn't. Give me just a second here. Making sure my audio is working good. Shouldn't have to be concerned about it. And it is. See if I can get the volume turned down. These buttons are just not great on this tablet cover, but it does what I need it to do. Appreciate everybody being in here. Hope everybody's having an amazing day. Okay, get on with the show here. Okay, so last night I was playing some 80-pound three-way rigs, and let's see what we got over here. 80-pound 10-aught three-ways. There we go. These put in a little case. Caden, I'm going to bet it's you. I'm good at this game. So my guess, and just an educated guess, maybe right and maybe wrong, but I'm betting it's you. Sometimes you just can't get nothing past me. Other times you absolutely can. Well, I hope you're going to have a good time out there, because yeah, it's always good to get out and go fishing. But my Lord, it's hot. Oh, let's see. Get some stuff cleared up here. Hey, 351 Cleveland. Good to see you. Good to see you. Hope you're having an amazing day. Or at least a tolerable day. Sometimes, amazing is just too much to ask for. Understand that all too well. We'll wait for some folks to get in here. Just talked to the beautiful Ashley, and she is at the gym getting all buff and stuff. That probably didn't sound right. That's okay. I'm not known for, well, I'm not known for much of anything. So there you go. Let's see. Keep digging through my pile of goodies over here. Every now and then I clean my desk off, and then I can't find anything anyway. So there you go. Some of these large swivels. I am not going fishing today, but Caden said he is going to. So if you're interested in watching Caden, then by all means, give him a sub and turn on the notification bell, and you will know when he goes live, because YouTube will tell you some days. Some days it won't. It's kind of finicky, but be that as it may. Happy Wednesday, Daniel. How are you? Hope that the world is being good to you today. And let's see. I'm trying to come up with what I want to tie today. I think I'm going to go with some Didn't seem like that hard of a question when I started off, now did it? I think I'm going to do some modified Kentucky rigs. So, let me start marking my little thingamajiggy here. Does it look like Minecraft? I mean, I don't want to, make it seem like something it's not. So, I mean, if you think it's Minecraft, then by golly, it can be Minecraft. Otherwise, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be playing around with some monofilament and some hooks and some swivels and some, we're just going to have a little fun here today. So there you go. So if you like fishing and you want to learn about tying rigs, or you want to talk about who knows what, then this is definitely a place. May not be the best, may not be the worst. I don't know. Hey, Sunshine, how you doing? That is the lovely and talented and gorgeous and everything else, Miss Ashley. Okay, so let's see. So I'm going to make a double dropper rig, and I'm going to hit the first one, the second one, and then give me some room down here at the bottom for a sinker, and snippy, snippy. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'll just go ahead and tie on my swivel. I'm going to do a tri-lean knot. Tri-lean knot, you go through the eye, you come back around from behind and go through the eye again. I probably shouldn't have said come back from behind, but whatever. So you've got a loop here, and then these two are going to make another loop. So you go over 5 times. There's 2, there's 3, there's 4, and then after 4 from all of my school experience says that's 5. So you run the tag end back through these 2 loops. You make sure that this top part doesn't double over. And you start pulling. Grab you some pliers and have a good old time. So once you get most of the way set, you can get a rig puller out and really try to cinch it down. Now, if your knot doesn't want to move, you can use your fingertips and slide it up a little bit. Just give it a little nudge, a little gentle nudge. And then we'll pull the tag in one more time. So 80-pound mono, of course, is a little bit of a more difficult beast to tie than lighter weight line. So I'm going to come down about, this many inches. We'll call it 5, 6. Double my line over. Double it over, or make a loop around itself. And then we're going to do 3 overhand knots in succession, which will be the same as what I call a triple surgeon's loop. Doing it twice is a surgeon's loop, so I figure a third time makes it a triple surgeon's loop. And we'll give that a good tug. We'll tug both ends independently after we pull them together. So it's just a small loop, nothing exciting. You're right, I'm not a scientist, dude. I got stickers back there, but none of them say I'm a scientist. So, I mean, thank you for your... Oh, Hippo. That is so cool that you did that. Here, let me help you out here.
Trolls suck. And I ain't talking about no little doll with crazy hair. I'm talking about them keyboard warriors hiding behind their screens, spewing venom. Yeah, those trolls, they suck.
So, on the interest, let me help you out here. Hippo, what we're going to do is we're going to never see your fucking ass again. So, bye-bye, assy-mahole. Don't come back. And let me make myself a moderator here. There we go. So, there we go. One dumbass gone. So now, got my little loop here. I go down about, that many. I'm a man. I can't tell you how many inches that is. Call it about 10. We'll go down about 10. Make another loop. Ooh, I'm a standard moderator. Who knew? Ooh, and there's a frequently asked questions I can do too. So you go through one and then you go through a second time. And then I know this is going to shock you all since we just did this, but we're going to go through a third time. That's 3. That's Hippo. That's this many. Okay, it's this many times. Okay, so we got us another little loop here, and try to pull down the end furthest away from the loop in an attempt to keep the loop small. So there we go. Fantastic. And then down here at the bottom, don't be surprised. We're gonna make another loop. I know. I'm as surprised as you are. And this one I'm just going to go twice because, well, one, I'm short on line, and two, actually, I'm going to go through it once because it doesn't matter. And there's a reason it doesn't matter, and we'll go through that over that in just a second. Because when I do the triple surgeon's loop or the double surgeon's loop, I do it because I'm trying to get extra strength out of the knot. There we go. Well, Grady, that 3 subs is like, that's 4 more than I have. So congratulations, my man. Shout outs. I don't understand the purpose of shout outs. I mean, let me help you out. I mean, I'm genuinely trying to be helpful here. Did you notice what happened there? You said something in here and I said, hey, Grady Clanton. So right there, you got one right off the bat. You don't even have to ask for a shout out. I think that's something that they do over on TikTok that I don't really understand the purpose behind them. I mean, if you want to hear your name that badly, you just call your mother a hoe or something, and you will hear your name multiple times and loudly. Okay, so there we go with that. So now that I've got the 80 pound, now we're going to tie the droppers. So I'm going to use this amount of line, which is way too much, and I know it. But I'm going to be using these 10-aught hooks. And because of that, as I wrap it around here a bunch of times, I'm going to use up a lot of line. So you can go around this however many times you want. 8 or so is good enough. And then I'm going to just go back through the back of the eye about a couple inches. Kind of hold this onto the back with the tag end. I'm going to give it 4 more wraps. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And pull that through. And that's going to give us an egg loop knot, which is a nice knot to have. It doesn't come loose like the no-knot snell, although the no-knot snell is a fine knot as well. And snip that tag in kind of short. Okay. So now we determine how long we want this to be. So, hey, junk shop boy. So what we accomplish in doing this route as opposed to making the larger, so a lot of people will make a big, large loop here, and then they have to, you know, basically make a cow hitch knot by running it through here and then putting the hook through the loop. But you don't get that famous trigger action that you have to have with these circle hooks. And you also, most importantly, is you're not snelling the knot or the hook, and so you have the line rubbing against this very sharp piece here where the wire bends around and then comes back over. You don't want your line in that groove because it will rip your line quickly. Hey, yeah, good to see you, my friend. Mike's Fishing Home. I think I said hi to you. I saw you. If I didn't say hi, it's because I'm a prick and I'm sorry. So we're going to determine how long we want this leader to be, and it's going to be about that long. And again, we're going to create a small loop at the end. So we doubled our line over here. Loop it around like you're making an overhand knot, and we're going to do that 3 times. Again, I do this triple surgeon's loop for a reason. It's stronger than the regular surgeon's loop, and more consistent. The 4 will be stronger in certain cases, but the 3 is more consistent, if that makes any sense. So like the margin of difference between strongest and weakest is closer. So get this, snip off that tag in. Now, next question is, how do you put it together? So again, swivel the top. There he is. And then we'll do our top dropper. So what we're going to do, it takes me a minute to remember. So we're going to put one loop. I think we put this loop over the other loop, and then we run the hook again through the 80 pound loop. So the 40 pound goes over the 80 pound, and then it goes through and you create this nice little double loop here. So this is going to, so down here is the bottom of the rig. This is the top of the rig, and it doesn't hold straight right now because, well, you know, it's 80 pound mono, but that's how, there we go. And then you got your dropper. This comes off. So you got a little extra size up here where the lines double over each other, but you have a single line leading down to your hook. You get to do the snell knot, all that fun stuff. You're getting ready for me, big fight two guys. Getting ready for me, big fight two guys. Ah, thank you, Amazon. Yeah, it took me a minute. MMA champion. Well, there you go. I don't know what that is, but there you go. Let's see. More complicated than the knitting shows. It is. Maybe an egg loop or something like that. An egg loop where? Oh, there we go. Here we go. Let's see. No, not Mortician's Rig. Yak. Mike's fishing home. That's where you fish. It's where it's home. It's where his Mike gets to go. It's Mike's fishing home. Yeah, you got your own song there, buddy. So Amazon, you do the improved clinch. That is a fairly strong knot. I just did a video a couple days ago. The two knots every cat fisherman should learn first, or something similar to that. And one is the trialing knot, and the other is the no knot snell. And so the way it works out is the trialing knot is stronger than the improved clinch knot. Now, you did, and the reason I know this, okay, your beard is kind of patchy. Well, it happens. Is I got this little feller right here. So you got a linear actuator, and then you've got a pull tester. So this, you can push or pull, but in this case it's pulling. And I hooked that up to a 12-volt battery, and I did a lot of tests, a whole bunch of tests, right? So people tell you, well, this is the strongest knot, this is that, this is, well, I tested it. And just to show you real quick, because, right, it is a quick and simple, but I mean, the trialing knot is really quick and simple too. So you run through, you go back around. So not really, just that one extra step. And then, so you got this loop, and then you run this one over 5 times, like you're going to do with the clinch, like the improved clinch knot. And then you just go through both of these loops down at the bottom. And when I grabbed around it, it made things pull up, but you get 2, you run the line through there, and that's it. So it's really not any harder than the improved clinch knot, unless you're trying to show it on video. So again, we've got the 1 leader on here already, and again, that's the way it kind of goes. Hey, Randy Rhino. Hey, Chaos Goat. So in my testing, the trialing knot is stronger than the improved clinch knot, but the improved clinch knot is much better than the regular clinch knot. So there you go. I did say hi to Scotty. I know I did, but if I didn't, hi, Scotty. I mean, I know you were here. I saw you say that was great. Yeah. Can you draw me? You're an artist, and you want to make me fan art. I mean, I've already had AI generate videos for me as a gorilla, and frankly, I mean, I thought that's pretty good art. I mean, if you want to, you're more than welcome to. My email address is in the description, or the video, the channel description, if you really want to email it to me. And if it's any good, I'll use it. And if it sucks, then, well, what else is new? Well, see, the improved clinch knot is stronger than the clinch knot, though. So why in the world would you use a clinch knot over an improved clinch knot unless you don't want that extra strength? So anyway, so again, we're going to do the egg loop knot, which is just, you run, this is the front of the hook. This is where you have the point is here. You go through the eye. It doesn't have to be a bent eye like this one is. It could be a straight eye. You go through the front. You hold your tag end against the shank of the hook. And you go round and round about 8 times. And you want to make sure that you wrap it around the side that does not have, where the wire for the hook is bent back around. You want to go around the solid side. So get it there about 8 times. Here, if you just went ahead and pulled this through, you would have the basic no-knot snell. But instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it through about 1 inch or so, or 2. I'll hold on to this piece. So this is the part that's been wrapped around so many times now. And then take the back part of the standing end. So that's what's connected to this. And hold it in place with the tag end. We're going to go around 4 more times. 1 and 2 and 3. And if memory serves, that would make 4. Then we just pull through, and you just kind of keep pressure the whole time so your coils don't wrap around each other, and you give it a nice solid tug. And then pull the tag in, and you can actually, the improvement that this gives you over a couple of improvements over the No Not Snell is you can snip it short. So you snip the tag in short. Hey, actually, good to hear. And then it won't come undone. So this is where you would put like your eggs if you're doing it, or you could put chicken liver if you want to do that, and kind of holds it in place for you. But so I'm not using the egg loop knot for the purpose of the egg loop knot, but I'm using it for the purpose I like it. So we've got our hook on there. Gonna go again with the triple surgeon's loop. Just loop, circle around like you would a regular knot, and then you go through 3 times. And I kind of try to push up the bottom end of the knot so as to not create too big of a loop here, because I don't really want a large loop there, because the only purpose of that loop is to mate with the other loop. Now, I mean, in theory, I guess I could just tie a trilene knot around the other loop, but that's not what I'm doing. Fishing life advice. Well, I mean, this is the best kind, right? So again, you take this, the 40 pound, go over the 80 pound, run your hook through the 80 pound, and tag in through there. Then you pull it tight. The 2 loops just kind of cinch together. I fish for catfish. I fish for bluegill and crappie and that kind of stuff, skipjacks, snag Asian carp for bait. I also do some saltwater fishing down around the Pensacola area. So because I used 80 pound mono leader and 40 pound droppers, I probably should have used 60 pound droppers, but whatever. I want to go down to 30 pound for the sinker. And do that, we're just going to snip off a piece. One end, we're going to create a surgeon's loop, which is just like we did, but going twice instead of 3 times. And this one we want fairly large. And the reason being, because we're going to use it to make a cow hitch knot over the sinker. So take your sinker, double line over, put that through the eye of the sinker. Easier said than done sometimes. And then you put the sinker through the whole loop. Pull it back around, and there you go. And then you can push it back through and take this off if you want to use a different size sinker. My biggest blue cat's 26 pound, biggest bass 5 pounds, and gar I've caught, I don't know how much the damn thing weighed. At least 20, it had to be 20 pounds at least. And then Asian carp. I don't know how big it was, but I can tell you that Sunshine there, God bless her beautiful self, I tied this wrong. She made her pull one up over the side. It took everything she had. So actually, I'm going to put on the second hook. I put it on the wrong loop, but that's okay because we want it on this one. Sorry, they're so short. Or so close together. I didn't straighten them up first and all that. So then again, the great thing about doing these, if you want to use this double knot, loop knot to loop knot like I did, is you can change these out too. So top ends up here, you got your 2 snoods or leader thingamajiggies, and then the bottom, we're just going to tie on another piece of, and I'll just cheat and use an improved clinch knot here. There's no reason not to. And like so. We'll pull that so we get a little more length out of it. And then your sinker will be down here. And then you got your 2 leads up here. So as you can see, I definitely need to shorten that top lead so that it can't interfere with the second lead. But there you go. You put baits on both of these, sinker on the bottom, cast out, and have a good time. So that's that. And I can't believe I don't have my 60 pound here. What's that? That's Fluoro. Oh, anyway, there's the general idea. So first rig is usually not the best, and that's fine here. So as I make the next ones, what I'm going to do is give myself more space between this knot and this knot. And you're going to make a little more space down here at the bottom as well. So there we go. And what this does is it replaces the T knot, because a triple surgeon's loop is stronger than a T knot. And the T knot is that one that people do where they loop it around like so, hold this in, and then run these over each other 6 times, and then run this through the hole that you just made, if I can find it. Again, 80 pound mono, not the best for working with. And so the T-knot, when it's set up, it looks prettier, but it's not strong. I tested it, and that's how I know. Let's see. Can you say, why would I say that to another man? I mean, if you want to be a political weirdo, that's all on you. I am in Tennessee near Memphis. I am not a salmon fisherman. No, we don't have salmon down here. We've got some trout every now and then. But even then, they're around here. They are stocked in a few lakes, rainbows during the winter, just so that you can get them out before summer comes and the heat kills them all off. Let's see. Oregon. Yeah, I know. So Amazon, in Oregon, there's a Oregon, man, what is his? Does anybody remember his channel name? I almost say it's Oregon Fishing. I don't think it's Adventures, but Oregon Fishing something. Maybe Oregon Fishing Channel. I don't know. You've got people like Hitch by Hitch. You've got Reef Robber. He does more of the crab and such, but they do salmon fishing as well as other different kinds of fishing. Let's see. Your review and sending your art. Well, I appreciate it, my man. Let's see. You're 22 and you have autism. Well, Yellowstone, thank you for telling me that. I'll give you a little more leeway than I will some people here. Is fly better than lure in heavy current river with a lot of rocks? Well, heavy current, that's going to blow a fly around a lot. But your flies are going to stay on top of the water typically, which will definitely be better around rocks. Okay, who is TJ, Randy? Is that 351? I guess it is. Oregon Fishing Adventures. Okay, so it is another Fishing Adventures channel. Hey, Fishing Hoosier, how you doing, Andy? You want to see my live reaction to? Okay. You know, if it's a penis, I'm going to yell at you, scream at you, and do very bad things at you. I love you. There it is, folks. There it is. That is a thing. There you go. See, I hate trolls because they have no imagination. That was good. That. Come on, guys. You gotta love that guy. You gotta love it. I mean, yeah, I'd like to think that. I'd like to think it doesn't look that much like me, but on the other hand, I'm pretty sure it does. So there you go. And big bulbing head on the side. I don't think I have too many tumors up there, but and the thing is, I mean, assuming this is not AI generated, you got some talent in you, my man. You could use it a little for good, but hey, I'll take what I can get. That is yeah. That is, yes, that's that. I mean, there's a lot of my essence that's caught there. I mean, we could be twins. I'm just saying, we could be twins. And more importantly, it wasn't a dick pic. So I'll take it. I will take it. That was good. Now, on the slight chance that you were not trying to troll me, I'm very sorry for laughing at it. But that was good. That was, yeah. See, and that is my complaint about people who troll, is that they just don't put any effort into it. And you, sir, you put some effort into this. Broke your foot this morning. You planned on fishing, but that's out. Well, perhaps, just spitballing here, maybe you shouldn't have broken your foot. We can put you in a wheelchair, roll you on there. You'll be fine, buddy. You'll be fine. Just a flesh wound, I tell you. Just a flesh wound. Okay. Oh, here we go again. Got our 80-pound line. I'm going to go longer this time because, yeah. If I didn't mention it, I meant to, and I think I got sidetracked because ADHD and stupid shit. As it turns out, I have set up an Amazon store. So the link is going to be in the description of the video, hopefully. And it works, hopefully. So, I talk about reels, all kinds of different stuff, all kinds of different fishing equipment, right? So I've got several items linked so far. I'll get more later. The PC Fine Alios 400 is on that list. Strangely enough, the Alios 300 is not yet. I don't know why that is. Chaos XS 50, the Chaos Pro 50, the Suffix Superior line that I use, the swivels that I'm using today are on there. Yeah, so there you go. So if y'all would check it out, it doesn't cost any more. It's products off of Amazon. The way the stores work, for anybody that doesn't know, basically, I just pick out items from Amazon that I have personally used, that I recommend, that I think are good, and it saves you from having to look for them, and I get a commission out of it. I ain't gonna lie to you. It helps me out. It helps the channel out somehow. The channel and I are related. I don't know. Possibly one of us was adopted. I don't know, but apparently we have the same birth parents. It's really weird how that works out. Anyway, but the price is the exact same that you're going to pay on Amazon. It hurts you in no way. It helps me in one way with a small commission, and it is small. I'm not going to say how small, but let's just say if you showed it to a woman, she would not be impressed. She might even laugh a little bit. That, Caden, the Alios 400 is just it's an awesome reel. It's a low. This is the 300 I'm going to grab, so understand it. It's different, but so low profile bait caster, nice power handle. All these are nice push button, magnetic drag, but the 400 is larger, so it holds more line. And it also has a bait clicker on it. So that's the big differences between the 300 and the 400. And the sad part is the 300 is a fine reel. But once you grab hold of the 400, you're like, 300 what? What? So if you don't need the bait clicker, and the bait clicker is really the biggie for me. Look, he didn't put the reel back together right. Do I have a screwdriver handy? No. It's not that I didn't put together right. It's that I didn't tighten the drag down a little bit before I tightened the nut when I put the handle back on. so the handle's a little loose. But that's me because I take these apart. Um, but that is I like the 300. If you're throwing lures and you don't care about the bait clicker, the 300 is a fine reel. The 400 is a fine reel as well. The bait clicker just does it for me. Yeah, exactly. The bait clicker is just nice. So for those of you who don't know what a bait clicker is, and when I was growing up, like the Zebco 33, they would have bait clickers on, which was really cool. And I just thought it was so that when you reel it, it makes a little clicky noise. And I thought maybe that the fish are supposed to somehow hear it. No, that's what it's for. It's so you can put the line, the reel in free spool, and when it pulls out, it clicks. So when a fish hits your line and pulls, click, 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 click. So really nice. But that's for using set rigs. Like if you're throwing out bait and sticking it in a rod holder, you can then put it in free spool, so that if you're actually using a Carolina rig and you don't want the fish to feel the pressure, you put it in free spool, but the clicker goes off to let you know that line's coming out, and you can go take care of things. Now, if you fish with your line with your reel locked down, a bait clicker does you no good. So there you go. Yeah, those clickers are cool, but and YouTube changes how we fish. And I'll even say YouTube changes how we fish for the worse. Here's why. People love takedowns. Now, there's nothing that gets people on a fishing live stream happier than seeing the rod go, hmm? Well, if you're using a bait clicker, it's not going to do that. So if you lock your reel down, have it closed, then you still have your drag on, obviously. You get this. Now, by the same token, if you have the drag set loose enough that you're actually wanting the fish to pull the drag, a bait clicker will work in that situation as well. Anytime the spool moves, the bait clicker clicks. You also want to turn it off before you reel it in, otherwise you're just annoying everybody on screen. So that's one way that YouTube fishing has changed fishing for the worse. The other is because of those takedowns, everybody loving the takedowns, we now hold our rods almost vertically rather than having them more parallel with the water. Because again, if your rod is parallel to the water and the fish pulls, it's not going to get all the feedback from the rod. If you're, again, using a bait clicker, then you have that less pressure. As you're up and you pull, even if it's in free spool, the rod tip's going to move some. You're going to get a little bit of pressure on that. Which is why when you watch carp fishermen, their rods are parallel to the water, sometimes even pointed down towards the water. 4 big sharks with the help of that drag clicker. I mean, I don't know what a big shark to you is, Caden, but I caught one that was like, it was long. It was about 2 feet long. It was a Atlantic shark nose. It was nothing exciting. I would love to catch a big shark. Oh, I didn't even think it was a shark when I brought it in, to be honest with you, because, like I say, it was about a 2-footer. I was like, well, this is a good fish, but as you know, if you surf fish, it's Baker's choice on what comes up. 7 to 10 foot range, I'm betting that is, as opposed to 7 to 10 pound range, unless you're talking about mine. I didn't think mine was that heavy. I don't know. I was more excited that I had caught a shark. And it was weird because it was, I mean, it's really not weird because that's how fishing works. But, I'd had it sitting there for a while. I reeled it in, and I may have changed bait, or I may have just checked bait and then threw it back out. But, I mean, within a minute after it landed, off goes my rod. And that is, again, not atypical. Something about a bait landing that makes fish more interested in it. This is 80 pound. And then I use 40 pound. I would like to use 60 pound for the droppers, but I don't know where my 60 pound is right now. So, yeah. Okay, so these droppers are further apart. And then I've got a little more space at the end. So, what I'm going to do here, just tie on a quick clip. And let's use a clinch knot here because I don't care about the strength, right? This is going to the sinker. And the reason I'm using different weights, I guess I should talk about different strengths of line. So 80 pound for the main, normally 60 pound for the droppers. Right now we're going to use 40 pound, and then I'm using a lower weight when I go to the weight, because if my weight gets on and I have to break free, I want the weight to break off. That way I get both my hooks back. On the other hand, if I get a hook snagged somewhere, then I can break off that one hook and get the other hook and my sinker back. So the important thing here is that your main line is at least the strength of whatever dropper you're using. So anyway, that's why. Pull this one tight again, because the way I had it pulled, I thought it was snug. Then as you saw, I pulled both of the tag ends, and it was not quite as snug as I thought. So, there we go. And I'll grab the first rig that I created because I don't like how it went. And I can cut all the accoutrements off of it. I just didn't, my main leader body was not long enough. So there, bye-bye. But I can then take the droppers off of it, move them over here. So we'll put the 40 pound around the 80 pound, and then we put the hook through the 80 pound. And that gives us where the two meet. And like I say, this way, you can loosen this up. You can take it off. You want to do a different size hook. Or if one of your hooks breaks off, you can add another one back on there. Another one of these snoods. Yeah. So there's a lot of flexibility in this rig. And again, I like it better than using the traditional T-knot that people use with the Kentucky rig, because you always have, at the end of the T-knot, you always have a long doubled over piece of line, and then you have to run that through the hook, and you can't do a good snell knot. Mike, I'm with you on that, and here's what I do. There's a 3 by 5 inch 4 mil, don't get the 2 mil, 4 mil poly bags. Get them off Amazon. They're actually in my Amazon store link, but this is for the 1,000 pack. You don't need 1,000. I bought the 200 pack and I went through them, so there's that. And you just take your rig. I like to bring my hooks together as much as I can. Like so. Just kind of fold it up. Now, that doesn't mean it can't get a little bit tangled in here, but it's not going to be a gigantic tangled mess like when you have a bunch of different rigs all tied up in the same, like gallon Ziploc. And some pretty girl just sent me a text. What's the plan for dinner? That's a good question, darling. I just ate not too long ago. For anyone who cares, and that's basically me. I started doing the keto diet again. I had lost 120 pounds and gained more of that than I want to admit to. Not more than I lost, but still. Still down 6 inches in the waist, but anyway. They're starting to fit really tight. So started back on that. And for keto, for anybody who's interested, the thing I like about keto is that you can eat as much as you want. You just can't eat everything that you want. So you're staying away from gluten. All of the grains, corn, wheat, rice, staying away from beans. Even though those are high in protein, they're also high in carbs, which doesn't make any sense, because to me, carb is sugar, and sugar is supposed to taste good. And beans are not known for, oh my God, these are the sweetest things you've ever had. Thank you, human. Appreciate it. And if y'all want to hit that like button, it'd be awesome. appreciate all you hanging around. I am trying to get my watch hours up so that I can get over that 4,000 hump before I start losing more hours, because I'm at a period now where a year ago I was putting out content down in Florida, and people love that. So so with the keto diet, a lot of salad. Like I get the Caesar salad from Walmart, the baggie, and put it all together. Don't put the croutons in. You can actually eat a lot of cheese, which is surprising to me, but you can. And then I get the low carb keto wraps, or the tortilla wraps. No, they're not quite as good as flour, but they'll do. You made me new artists better than the old one. 80% like you. You are. Can't wait. I can't wait. The funny thing is, I recognize your name, and I recognize it from. I think you were doing a little trolling in a lot of places, but my God, son, that is fabulous. I love it. Oh, that's beautiful. That is. I mean, talk about twins, baby. Talk about twins. I'm sure that's AI generated, but my God, that is. I am, yes, thank you. That is that, yeah, that you got it. That see, I don't mind good trolling. I don't. It's the remember Lamar Jackson. Would you rather watch a tree grow or something else? I do. The fish looks very tasty. I now I don't know if you fish or not, but I should tell you. Normally, when a predator eats a fish, it eats it head first. Because if you eat it backwards first, and you get all the dorsal fin is going to poke you in the roof of the mouth. So just a heads up, in case you do some more of these. And AI is not known for doing things really well. It's amazing some of the things that they miss. I had them created one, actually posted it, and it was I'm impressed at a lot of what it does, but it was supposed to be a gorilla getting out of a truck, grabbing his rods out of the back of the truck, and running to the bank to go fishing. Well, he jumps out of the truck, he goes and grabs the rods and plays around with them, and then leaves them there and goes to the bank. Well, there you go. Like I say, AI ain't exactly there yet. And thank you for the companies who have invested literally hundreds upon hundreds of millions of dollars so that I can create a gorilla driving a truck. Yeah. And I work in IT, so, and it's a language learning model. It's going to continue to develop, right? But the problem, if you've ever tried talking to a programmer, I want A, B, and C. And what you're going to get from them is A, B, and C. Now, if you didn't ask for it correctly, they're going to give you what you asked for regardless. They're not going to ask you are you sure this is what you want, because this is stupid. AI, on the other hand, you can ask for specifically what you want, and it will give you whatever the hell it wants. Sometimes it's right, sometimes it's wrong. But I'm actually looking forward to the day when I can go into one of the AI programs and say, build me an exact copy of Reddit functionality and instructions on how to deploy it on SUSE Linux. And it actually spit it out, and you have, within an hour of it giving you the stuff, you have your own Reddit site. Granted, not the data, which is not what you want anyway, because but could you imagine if you then turned around and said, create a copy of YouTube. All the features, all of the everything visible, right? I mean, there's some stuff that, obviously we all don't have access to, but get all the functionality into it. Build up a nice admin control panel and compete immediately with YouTube. You're going to have to put a lot of money into it because it's still going to require a buttload of computing resources. But then, the next time YouTube says, well, we don't like hunting, so we're going to demonetize, if not deactivate, all of the hunting channels, then you can go YouTube. And I find it interesting, as much as I hate to say things that are interesting. Let's see. The fish was wonderful. No more Monopoly. The problem is, so you've got Facebook, which has always been this left-leaning platform. And so they came up with Truth Social, which instead of being a left-leaning platform, it's alt-right weird shit. No, we just went right down the middle. We want, if you don't like abortion, that's fine, but it can still be talked about anywhere on there. If you don't like guns, that's fine, but it can still be talked about anywhere. We just want, I want the utopia of everything the liberals and the conservatives say. Well, if you don't like guns, don't get one. Oh, but you can't have an abortion. Well, okay. Well, if you don't want an abortion, don't have one, but you can't have guns. No. No. You don't get to make those choices. That's what freedom is. Freedom is the ability to make those choices yourself. I'm not going to argue abortion rights with anybody. Not the point. You have a right to your own morality. You don't have a right to mine. There are the greater good things like no murder and stuff like that. But, when it comes down to the choices for yourself, then you should be able to make them, and you should be able to talk about them. If you want to talk to them in your own political vacuum, go for it. But Truth Social will never be anything because it's not the answer to the problems of Facebook. It is an alternate reality to Facebook. It is. I'm starting to sound like a liberal, and I'm sorry. It just. But then over the weekend, apparently, they say that Mark Zuckerberg was on, I think, Joe Rogan, talking like MAGA stuff, and that he wants to be an MMA fighter. That may just be fake news. I hope it is. 'Cause none of that makes sense to me, especially with as cucky as Facebook has gotten. It's amazing to me that on one hand, I like some of the moderation that Facebook does where, this has been checked and is not true. But you still click here if you want to read it. I like that they have some of that independent, in theory, evaluation. But on the other hand, there's been some stuff that's been marked as stuff you shouldn't see that really wasn't. So I don't know. Hey, Scotty, welcome back in, or Zillion, or whatever. I don't know what the right answer is. The problem is I know what all the wrong answers is. Okay. X is run by a Neanderthal child. Which Elon Musk is funny to me. I love Tesla. I wanted a Cybertruck. They were too damned expensive. If they come out at the price point he said, I'd be driving one right now. But Elon Musk is an idiot. He paid, I don't know how many millions upon millions or more to get Trump elected. And you mean in Trump's first term, Trump picked his own cabinet and fired every damn one of them. Trump is not known for his level-headedness, right? So you get these two strong personalities together. And Musk is like, well, I pretty much bought you the presidency. And Trump's like, I don't give a shit. Go away. And then they get into a fight. And now they're trying to back. Yeah. Musk. Yeah. That chainsaw incident, that was, oh my God, laughably horrible. I mean, I, I don't even know how to process that. I saw that and I'm like, you try to give people the benefit of the doubt, and that was just stupid. But it also became interesting, that Musk came out against the big beautiful bill. First off, legislation doesn't need to be in gigantic reams of paper. Hey, thank you, Mike's Fishing Home. $3. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Well, Colin, it's not really the political. I try to keep it not political, but then sometimes, there are certain things that you just can't not make fun of. And Elon Musk running around with a chainsaw. I mean, the fact that he did not cut himself with it is truly amazing. I mean, I'm not going to tell you how hard I would have laughed if he had cut his own leg off right in the process. That's not nice, but yeah. But inside the big beautiful bill that Musk then disavowed is a setting that says that the federal government has control over AI for the next 10 years. And it's like, I can't imagine who that was written for. And then Musk decides he gets what he wants out of that bill, and then he craps over the rest of it. Like, look at all these people I've fired for no reason whatsoever because we're going to save some money, and then you're just going to go blow it all. I don't know. But yes, so you have a point. I understand your point, Colin, and that is, it's hard to say no politics and then start running on about politics, but some of this stuff is just too stupid for words. The biting the hand to feed you and all that kind of stuff that we're all told not to do, and then Musk Trump did it to Musk, and then I don't even. And part of that is, so I live in Memphis, or near Memphis, and there is nothing but a bunch of hullabaloo over the XAI data center that's been built here. And some politicians are screaming that, they're going to kill us all with the emissions and nonsense like that. And I think those are too close. They are too close together. Oh, well. I'm going to start that over. I'm Border Patrol pterodactyls. Part of me is like, there's no way that this could possibly be true, but it's possibly true. I mean, we have not had a lot of brilliance in the White House in a long time. Pterodactyls, I mean, that's for the birds. So part of me is like, you're trolling me, and the part of me is like, I've been trolled enough by politicians lately that I will not be sure of anything till I check. I don't know if Trump knows what a joke is, because he's such a caricature of himself. His speech pattern is so easy to replicate because of what appears to be a limited vocabulary. We dropped bombs. They were the biggest bombs, the biggest bombs, best bombs, biggest, best bombs, biggest, bestest, best bombs, biggest bombs. I mean, and maybe he's dumbing it down for I don't know. I don't. I just. Yeah. And I saw him talking about how the media has been wrong, fake news about the bombing, and how that they may have missed their targets or didn't do as much damage as they thought, and that he had talked to the people in Missouri, great state of Missouri, great state, wonderful state. I've won it in all 3 elections by landslide. What? What does that have to do with the topic at hand, sir? I do miss, hate to say it, I miss Obama. Obama was one of those people. The man had a way with words. He had a way with speaking to people. He had charisma. Trump does not have charisma. Trump has money. I think he has money. It's hard to tell from one day to the next if he actually has any. But for all the faults that you can have with Obama, the man, God bless his heart, he had charisma. Trump doesn't have any. Biden started off with a very small amount and lost it somewhere along the way. Probably just forgot where he put it. And I think the Biden presidency is going to have a bad legacy when all is said and done. I don't know what his mental capacity was towards the end of that, but he clearly was having more difficulty than I am right now. Let me make an adjustment over here. I just realized that my chat is not moving on this one. Oh well, sad part. Let's see what we have. Yeah, I basically what I try to do is I try to stay away from angry politics. I mean, there are things happening in this world that are reasonable to talk about. The bombing of Iran was scary. I'm not going to lie to you. While it looks like it may have worked out the way people wanted it to, that could have really ended way differently. Way differently. I mean, that could have started World War III. It really could have, because, and the irony of the only nation in the history of the planet to drop nuclear bombs on another country having the audacity to decide who gets to have nuclear bombs and who doesn't. Oh, I'm sure it was AI generated, but it's still cool. The pterodactyl thing. I mean, yeah. But then again, some weird shit has come out of Trump's mouth. I'm just saying. Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, and I may be, but I think that the simplified tax forms, the federal forms that we all fill out now, are income tax, I think that was a Trump thing. Although it's a little frustrating. It's much easier to do now, but people that want to itemize their taxes, it's more difficult for them now, because there's so much that's just handed out up front with standard deduction and not that we didn't have standard deductions before, but I think they went up significantly. And anyway, so it used to be, you'd write off the interest on your house. Now you got to have a hell of a house note to be able to write off that interest anymore. 2-pound bass floating a crawdad on the river. That is cool. You've caught fat catfish on daddies. Oh, crawdaddies. I'm like, is Mike sitting there going, "Hey, daddy, you want to be my catfish?" Sorry, I've been around YouTube too much. People talking about daddy this and daddy that. Catfishing is fun. So one of the, Andy may or may not still be in here. He's the fishing Hoosier, and he fishes for crappie on his live streams, and he doesn't have all of the. That is going to be the shortest leader in history. He doesn't have the benefits that the cat fishermen have, which is, we set our lines out and we can sit there and watch chat. Whereas, when you're casting and retrieving the whole time, you don't get that luxury. You hope that chat's behaving and all that kind of stuff. I am your daddy. Thank you, Mike. Mike throwing in the $5. Thank you. $5 do make me holla. Holla. And I hope that when we, when I show you guys these rigs, it's not that I think I'm making the best rigs. It's that I'm doing different stuff. Because I'm thinking my way through these rigs. Maybe they work, maybe they don't, right? But I'm the hope that I am encouraging people to. I don't want to say think for themselves because that's not what I'm being, but to not accept what we've all been fed, right? When it comes to catfish rigs, right? For the longest time, it was, you have to do it this way. And, in my case, it was, this is the strongest knot. And then you learn, no, it's not. And the stuff that's been perpetuated. And my biggest takeaway so far has been, everybody talks about how great fluorocarbon is. Fluorocarbon is garbage. It is overpriced garbage. I would rather use Stren monofilament. And I'm not a big fan of Stren monofilament. Oh, Mike, you're a bit wrong time. Let's see if we can yeah, there we go. Here we go. Got all the coils straightened back out. And first off, the knot strength is terrible with fluorocarbon. And then all the stuff that they told us about. Actually, where are you guys fishing? You're in North Nevada. I fish around the Memphis area for the most part for catfish. I actually catch more catfish, if it feels like, down in Pensacola, but nobody wants hardhead catfish. So there are two types of saltwater catfish down near Pensacola: the hardhead and the sailcat. And the sailcat is very pretty. It's like a long hair cat as opposed to a short hair cat. It has like long fins. It looks like pretty much like a blue cat, except it has these very long fins, and both on the side and the top. Very pretty fish, and they're supposed to be fairly edible. Hardheads, people do not talk kindly of them because they're fishing for other stuff, and then they have a hardhead take the line, and it's like crappy catfish. And it usually means, because the catfish will like dirtier water conditions than most of your other fish in saltwater. If you're catching catfish, you need to move. But most people down there won't even consider eating a hardhead. They say that they're trash. But I don't know. I grew up eating catfish. That was, the fried catfish. That's how you do it. Well, down there, they don't necessarily fry many other fish. And catfish and carp. Luke Nichols was down in Florida once, and he did eat the hardheads, and he said they really aren't bad. but he also ran into the same thing I did, where people just do not like them. They consider them trash fish, and which is funny because I mean we all have different kinds of trash fish. I mean, carp for a lot of people is a trash fish, but then it's actually becoming popular in the U.S. as a sport fish. Um, and I think the fact that most people consider it to be inedible, it's not inedible. It's actually supposed to be a very good fish. It just has a bunch of bones. And Americans, God bless our hearts, do not like bones in our fillets. But other parts of the world eat carp all the time. And so there you go. So I think carp as a sport fish, I won't say the game fish, as a sport fish, is becoming somewhat popular. It's been popular in Europe for a long time, and it's starting to make it over here now. Are you talking about? I guess in your case, you would be talking about common carp. So, like here in the Mississippi River and Tennessee River systems, we have the Asian carp, which are the big heads and the silvers, and there's also black carp, but I've never run into those. Those are considered invasive. You are not allowed to release them alive. Grass carp, they plant here, not plant. They stock them, but they stock them having already sterilized them. And the purpose of those is so that they can eat hydrilla and stuff, but they don't want you killing those in areas that they are intentionally stocked. They also don't want you transplanting them, because what happened was in Arkansas, near the Mississippi River, it was the 70s or 80s, I forget, they had brought Asian carp over to raise in ponds. And because people that had moved here from Asia, as I understand it, wanted to eat the fish. You know, they wanted those fish. That was home cuisine to them. Well, the Mississippi flooded, and those lakes flooded, and those fish got into the Mississippi River system, which is connected to the Ohio and to the Missouri and the Tennessee and all the way up to the Great Lakes and all the way down to the Gulf and everything in between that connects. And the Asian carp have no predators, no natural predators here. They get big, too big for a blue cat to eat. And the blue cat is, I mean, the sturgeon are, okay, the sturgeon can get bigger. Alligator gar can get bigger, and you do get bull sharks into freshwater from time to time. But they are such prolific breeders that nothing can control their population. Then they filter feed, they eat up all the zooplankton, and then that affects the entire food chain. So there you go. So, and the only way to catch Asian carp, there's arguments on this. People will argue about it. The only way I've found to catch them is snagging them. Some people say you can catch them in the mouth on jigs and stuff, but the science says that you may put the jig in the right spot and then inhale it, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to argue about it. I'm just telling you the things. Joker, people, I'm sure you probably know the difference, but I want to share this for everybody. There are multiple types of gar. Every gar is not an alligator gar. The alligator gar actually have a rather short snout comparatively, and it's a wide snout comparative to other gar. You have the spotted gar, you have the long nose gar, you have the short nose gar, you have the alligator gar, and there may be others. But most people, when they see a gar, well, they say it's an alligator gar. Then again, a lot of people see a turtle and it's a snapping turtle. Or if they see a snapping turtle, it's an alligator snapping turtle, which is, again, not the same thing. People get confused. Kind of like snakes. They're all poisonous. Well, none of them are poisonous. They're venomous, the few that are. And not every snake that you see is a copper-headed rattle moccasin, right? Anyway, have the cigar. I don't have the cigar. You have the cigar. I've heard cigar minnows. Oh, the cigar. You got me, gig. You got me. Hey, Billy, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Um, and the alligator gar can get over 300 pounds, I believe. An alligator gar, when they get really big, the scales are apparently beautiful. People will use them in jewelry and stuff. Um, it is what it is. Um, the problem is that these are dinosaur relatives, and but the length of time it takes an alligator gar to get that big, I just don't want to ever harvest one. Because we're trying to bring them back. And the truth of the matter is, if you bring the alligator gar back, they can help with the Asian carp population. They can also eat other fish too, but and it's kind of funny because like around here, blue cats, everybody wants to, all the catfishermen want to catch blue cats. But up north, like the Potomac River, people up there hate some people hate the blue cats and want them extinguished because they think they eat the blue crabs and they make their living off the blue crabs, so they don't want anything affecting their living. And I understand how that goes. And some areas, flatheads are considered invasive. And what's strange is I don't know of an area that's overpopulated with flatheads. Flatheads take a long time to get big. And what I have heard is that big flatheads don't get fatty the way that blue cats do. Big blue cats, they get a lot of intramuscular fat and stuff, and they, when you fry them, they aren't necessarily the greatest thing from what I've heard. But flatheads are supposed to be, no matter how big they are, they're supposed to be good to eat. Yeah, so Billy, here's the problem with Florida for me. So I watch Creek Fishing Adventures. He goes down to Florida periodically, and he'll go hit the roadside creeks, and down south towards the Everglades, you've got lion cichlids, you've got Oscars, and all kinds of stuff that are invasive species that are in these roadside canals, just thick as thieves. And they look like they'd be a lot of fun to catch, and I'd like to get down there someday and try catching them. But if I'm in Florida, I'm in saltwater, baby. That's I don't have another way to put it. Saltwater to me is just fabulous. And what's interesting about that is I have not really had good luck in saltwater. There are people out there that well, according to the YouTube videos, they're pulling in limits of sheep's head, and then limits of this, and limits of that, and I'm pulling in limits of eelgrass and hardhead catfish. Beach shark fishing is not, Florida is not the place to do that. And the reason being, in Florida, if you're going to fish for shark from the beach, and you have to have a shore or land-based shark fishing permit, which is, it's free, but you have to take a test, and you have to go through all this rigmarole. And there are certain qualities. If your hook is, I forget what the gap here has to be, but if there's that much gap in the hook, or if you're using more than 4-foot steel leader, or if you are using a kayak, I think, or other things to drop your lines out further than you can cast, then you're automatically considered to be shark fishing. On the other hand, you can be fishing for anything that bites and not be shark fishing if you don't meet that criteria. So, if you ever stop, what do you fish for? I don't know, anything. If you say you're fishing for shark, then they're gonna want to see your gear, it's not bad to have the gear. So one of the things you have to have is you have to have something capable of cutting your hook and your line. Um, so bolt cutters, basically. You have to have. Actually, I think that's it. I think that's a big thing. There may be one other thing, I can't remember what it is. But you also can't take certain species even out of the water. And so you have to know all your shark species. And so, for instance, a hammerhead, you can't take out of the water. A great white, you can't take out of the water. A lemon shark, you can't take out of the water. And I mean, not to dehook it, nothing. You cannot delay the release. So you have to get in the water with the fish, in theory, and either remove the hook or cut the hook, or cut the line as close to the hook as you can. You can't take pictures with the fish unless it would not delay the release. And I don't know how that's possible to not delay the release while taking a picture. I mean, that's you, unless you're filming it. I mean, if you're filming it, then I guess you can then take the stills from that. But none of this sitting on his back, holding on the sand, holding the nose up in the air so everybody can see it. And sharks are special in that it's not that they just have to be in water and their gills pulsate. The water has to be moving in theory, except that sharks do sleep and they're not swimming while they're asleep. I don't know. But what I've read is the mortality rate goes over 50% if you keep a shark out of water for more than 4 minutes. So even if it swims off, there's still a 50% chance it's going to die. Yeah, so, well, I mean, on the I have gone surf fishing a couple times, and I'm definitely going more surf fishing next time. I stand by my statement that if somebody would actually do live streams from the surf down in that area, they would blow up on YouTube. People love surf fishing videos, and more importantly, it's not really it's not much different than catfishing. You cast it out, you wait. You do have crabs to deal with and other things that are going to take your bait, so you have to check your bait every 10, 15 minutes. Whereas, you can leave a catfish bait out longer. But it's still a cast out and a bait and wait type method, right? So you have time to interact with chat and all that kind of stuff. And if you don't catch a fish, the ocean's right there. I mean, it's hard to stare at the ocean and be mad. So there's that. Only been in the ocean once. Didn't get to fish it. Fourth of July is tough fishing anywhere. First off, you got the vacationers that are gonna, be on the beach, and they have every right to be there. It's just that beaches are more crowded. Is where I'm going with that. The first time we went with we had a beach fishing guide, and we got there early. And in fairness, so there's a little parking area. Basically, in Florida, you have strips of land that are owned by the state, and then the wet sand, or actually the high water mark, which is not necessarily just the wet sand, it comes up further, is public property. So a lot of the beach access is controlled, but once you get on the beach, you're fine, far enough down the beach. So we were in one of those little parking areas, had access, and we didn't go. We went over the bridge onto the beach, and he didn't get very far from straight ahead. We were very close to, this is the shortest path we could have took. Well, yeah, we were the first ones there. We were fishing and everything, but we had people come in with their families and set up right beside us swimming. And the guy that we went fishing with, he was like, it amazes me how stupid people are, because we clearly have hooks in the water, and they're letting their little kids swim here. And one of them was like the mama came down there and was like yelled at the dad. It appeared in a language I didn't understand. Going and very quickly they moved, but they were literally just set up right next to us. I thought maybe their thought process was, well, we'll just run the fish off and then there'll be nothing there. But if you hook up, the saltwater fish are so much different than freshwater fish. Freshwater fish. I'm trying to think of now. I mean, I haven't caught everything. I haven't caught muskie. I haven't caught big alligator gar or sturgeons or anything like that. But for the most part, if you cast out 50 yards, you're not going to be running much over that 50-yard length of line at any given time there. It's not like you have fish that just... I'm talking about bass, I'm talking about crappie, I'm talking about catfish, I'm talking about, all the species I've gone after. There's a fight involved, right? But they don't just take line and run. Saltwater fish, if they're in the current, meaning not in the intracoastal waterway, the ocean is there are soft days at the ocean, but where the water is kind of calm. But for the most part, the water is always moving. These fish are always moving. So, here's a pier, you got a fish next to it. A wave comes in, and then back up it goes. And that's constant. There's not a lot of places that give breaks for the fish. So if they're out in the surf, they're always moving. Even if they're hiding behind a sandbar, they're still always moving. And so they don't have as much what I would call twitch muscle as far, where it's just the fast. They're just muscles. They're giant muscle fish. And they swim, and I have gotten into at least 2 fish that, it took the bait, and the most beautiful sound in the world is your draggies going until you realize you can't stop that fish. Because again, if it was a catfish going on a run, he's going to go 20, 30 yards maybe. These are like, and Gig can tell you a whole lot more because Gig's been out there. That's his area. Yeah, and if you can get the fish in, if it's a Jack Crevalle or if it's a pompano or whatever, they still, the way, I didn't know this, so forgive me if I'm just talking like an idiot and you're like, duh. Lakes are like this. They come, here's the bank, and then they may drop off deep. They may go. The ocean doesn't drop anywhere near shore. There's a big, long shelf, often miles or longer. Now there's a gradual slant, but not like a channel in a river. Like on like on the Tennessee River where you get the impoundments, you got the lake, and then you got channel. That's really, really far in the ocean in some areas. And your ocean, so you start here, you go down, you get the first sandbar, you go down, and you get the second sandbar. Now, I'm sure there's more past that, but people fish in the guts. A cut is different, gut. So you're coming out from the beach. The gut is the trough. You got the sandbar, you got another trough. And the sandbars are usually underwater, right? So that's when you see the waves that are coming in and they white cap fold over, that's because they hit the sandbar and the bottom of the wave is not moving as at the same speed as the top, and so it does that. So that's how you know where the sandbars are. The cut is actually, and again, it all makes sense once you hear it, but maybe you've never heard it. So the waves that come in and they go out, but the water has to go somewhere. So otherwise, it's just the waves keep crashing, and all you're going to do is, the cuts are also where you get the what's that you're not supposed to swim in. Yeah. Anyway, the things you don't swim in because of the current. Basically, that's where the water comes in, and then it goes back out through this, where there's a cut in the sandbar. 40 likes, even better. He's told to swim further away. Thunder appeared, and lifeguard said sharks come there. Oh, absolutely. Oh, you don't want to be near up here. Hey, outside. Appreciate you being here. Hey, Ellie Rox, Leroy. I don't know. Riptide. Yeah, Riptide. So the Riptide goes out the cuts. And what it is you got the sandbars, and then you got in the middle of the sandbars, there's cuts so that the water can go back out into the ocean. Deep passes and lots of current. Yeah, and it blows my mind that the amount of current in the ocean is, and this is just the Gulf. Okay, I'm not even talking about the Atlantic or the Pacific. The Gulf in Pensacola, high tide versus low tide is about a foot, maybe a foot and a half. Whereas certain areas in the West Coast, maybe up as high as Alaska, can be 12-foot difference between high tide and low tide. So it's weird when people start talking about the tides and how important they are, because in Florida, the tide doesn't change that much. It's not like, like this house is visible at low tide and not visible at high tide. That height is where I'm going, not an actual house. Yeah, the beaches are they're a bad place because you're talking about that's where you had people fishing or swimming. Yeah. So piers, most of them that I know of do not allow you to fish for sharks, and you certainly cannot land a shark on the pier. So imagine if you were a shark and through years of community knowledge, you knew that they can't bring you up there. You figured this out through whatever. And you not only have the bait that the fishermen are using, you've got the structure right there. There's not a lot of structure in the ocean. There's not a lot. Maybe Billy's run into a pier in the middle of the Gulf somewhere, but they aren't. They're connected to land, and there aren't many of them. So you've got a whole lot of structure right there. So the algae and all that can, and your barnacles and such can get on the piers themselves. So you have a whole ecosystem of bait right there, in addition to the bait that the fishermen are throwing. But you're also catching fish. And in Florida, I've heard them refer to him as the gray tax man. And that is, you will be fishing and you will be bringing in a fish, and a shark will come by and just take that mother, and you're done. It just took your fish. Well, rephrase it. It just took its fish because it's not yours anymore. I think the only thing worse than not bringing in a fish is bringing in the front half of a fish. I've not had that problem yet, and I will not be happy when it happens. But it's also interesting to me. Crystal River, I believe is the right name of it. It's in Florida. And one of the guys I watch down there, his name is JC from Rad Reeling Fishing. He mostly fishes South Florida. He'll go different places. And he was fishing Crystal River one day. And I was watching his video, and I actually had to leave a comment going, dude, you are complaining about something we all wish we had as a problem. And that was, there's a lot of manatees in the Crystal River because there's a lot of grass in there, and manatees can eat, I forget the exact weight of, compared to their body weight of what they can eat in grass a day. It's a lot. So manatees will school up there. And he's sitting there going, I'm trying to fish, and everywhere there's manatees, and they just won't get out of my way. And he's in a kayak. And he was genuinely a little miffed about the situation. But I'm just sitting there going, man, what I wouldn't give to have the experience to be sitting in a kayak watching the manatees and having them come up and say hi and be in my way. When it comes down to first world problems, that was definitely a first world problem. And I like JC. He's down to earth kind of guy. He fishes. I think he fishes quote full time. YouTube's full time, but he's got an apartment. It's just an apartment. It's not a lavish house somewhere, and he will camp out of his truck a lot. And I really like watching him. You gig the Crystal River. Well, you gig a lot of things, I bet. Yeah, high and low tide is, like I said, in the Gulf Coast and in the Panhandle of Florida, at least, there's not a lot of difference. And I watch a lot of different channels of saltwater, and they're like, well, you need to go out during high tide. Low tide's the worst time to go fishing, but it's the best time to scout because you can see what is going to be covered in water later, and you can get the lay of the land. But last time I was down there, high tide was 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and it kind of runs almost a 24-hour cycle down there, if I remember correctly. So it's not like and maybe it's a 12-hour cycle, but in any case, it's not like it's high tide at 8 a.m. and then high tide again at 11 a.m. or low tide at 11 and high tide at 2 or something like that. It runs. So it's kind of like, well, I can fish the morning or the evening when it's supposed to be more productive, or I can fish high tide, which is directly in the middle of all that. I was talking about Goliath grouper, and I remember watching a video where someone was reeling in a shark, and a Goliath grouper came up and swallowed the shark. Wow. Goliath grouper are amazing. Okay. It hurts me that people are out there fishing for them, because for the most part, you can't legally land one. Now, Florida has a new regulation last year or two that there are seasons or something, but these guys will go out and they will intentionally fish for 500-pound Goliath grouper so they can say that they caught a 500-pound Goliath grouper, and they're not breaking the law because they don't pull the fish out of the water, they unhook it and let it go. But when you're bringing a 500-pound fish up from depths unknown, where their bladder is, their swim bladder is getting, you're harming the fish. And I wish they just wouldn't do that, because the way to get the season back open is for them to all reproduce and live and get to a point where there's enough of them that you can harvest them again. And yes, they're very rare. Absolutely, they're rare. Understood. But the fact, and which makes it even more of a reason why you should not be fishing for them. But it's hard to stand on that high horse while going, oh, well, yeah, I catch and release catfish. Well, is there a chance the catfish is going to die? Yes. Yes, there is. Am I taking a fish that was minding its own damn business and sticking a hook in it for my own personal pleasure to go, ooh, look what I caught? Yes. So it's a little hard to then turn around and point fingers at other people doing the same thing, albeit on a different scale, and go, you bad, but I'm good. It's it's a moral quandary. Billy, yes, they do go back, but just as a shark can, we've all seen fish that have been released that did not make it, even though they swam away, right? And yes, Goliath grouper need to go back down quickly so they can get the swim bladder back normalized and all, and get that. And the other thing that I have to defer to Billy on this is he knows a hell of a lot more about it than I do. And that a lot of outrage that's done out there is by people who know enough to be angry, but not enough to know what the hell they're talking about. So I may not know what I'm talking about. Still bothers me. Hey, Shannon, good to see you. Good to see you. Well, catfish aren't rare. No, but on the am I damaging an animal for my own perverse pleasure? That sounded a little kinkier than it needed to, but yes. Hey, Jerry Hager, good to see you. Good to see you. A lot of fish float away. Yeah, and that fishing magician, he talked about this one day. He talked about he got cited for taking a short fish, and it was I want to say I think it was a snapper. I think is what it said. I may be wrong on the species, or maybe it was I don't know. It was something, and he knew it was short, but he also knew that he had mortally wounded the fish. His choices were to throw out a fish that was effectively dead, or keep a short fish. And he got a ticket for keeping the short fish. And he's like, his argument, and I agree with his argument, was, well, if I had just thrown it back, then that's wanton waste. And I guess if the fish were a legal size, it would have been, right? Maybe you weren't out to keep fish, but you can't release a dead fish, right? So again, there's a lot of mental conflict on this, a lot of mental moral conflict that I have. Asian carp, when you snag them, you have to kill them if you catch them. But it's doing fine out there well, maybe not doing fine. For itself, it's doing fine until you intervened. But the other thing that you have to look at, and especially on the situation with Mark the fishing magician, is if you could use that excuse, even though in his case he truly felt he was doing the morally right thing. You can't open up that can of worms because too many people out there will abuse it. I accidentally stabbed it at the side of the boat when I was trying to release it. My bad, but it was dead, so I had to keep it. Stuff like that. Yeah, that's where it gets a little frustrating. I don't know, but I do miss Florida. And it's funny because I will not go out in this heat here. But if I were in Florida right now, I'd be sitting on that dock. I'd have a fan blowing on me, but I'd be sitting on the dock fishing. Because I really like saltwater fishing. Last time I went down there, it was I streamed like 32 hours in 4 or 5 days. That was the streaming. And that doesn't include times that most of the time when I was out there fishing, I was videoing, but still. Electric cigarette machines rock. What are you talking about? I'm not sure what an electric cigarette machine is, unless you're seeing me play with my little lighter here, which is for actually melting monofilament when I crimp stuff. Electric cigarette machines rock. Electric cigarette machines rock. I'm trying to make sense of it. I can't. It doesn't mean a whole lot. I'm not really bright. There's that. Oh, yeah. Well, I can understand why you think that because, and I don't, I'm not going to say I've never vaped. I'm not going to say, I'm just swinging it around because it's on my desk. And I mean, everybody has a black light on their desk too, or they actually have two. Here's my crimpers. There's my battery, and I got a little bit of everything. So, like I said, I do have an Amazon store now for anybody who cares. I'm adding items to it, items that I like, that I would encourage you to buy in Winink. So I do make a commission. No hiding anything there. You pay the same price. It's just that they give me a kickback because they think I'm awesome. And it's items that I've bought, items that I use, items that I pay my own real money for, not sponsored stuff, not sponsored by anybody. I do have a referral link up for PC Fun. You get a $25 coupon off for new users on anything over, I think, $70. And if you buy something, I get a 25% off coupon too. That's all that is. I buy my PC Fun reels from Amazon. Usually because they're very close to the same price, and especially if it's a new type of reel, like I did it with the Chaos Pro 50. I bought it off of Amazon. I think I paid a couple dollars more than I would have paid with the discount off the regular code anybody can use off of PC Fun's website, because I like Amazon's return policy, and I didn't know that I would like the reel. So I get most of my PC Fun stuff actually off of Amazon, often because there's a better price on Amazon. Not always, but most of the time that's how it is. It's weird that PC Fun will sell the same item on Amazon cheaper than they will sell it on their own website. But it is what it is. So I'm just using my little screwdriver here. This has bothered me. So, like I said, when I put this reel back together, because I do tear down on my reels, and I've done this multiple times with casting reels, is I forget to pull the drag down, and then the nut isn't tight. So you can see I'm still tightening it a little bit. Where is... Not much. There's not much play in it. But anyway. Don't tell anybody. These aren't even big enough to put on there. Okay. Yeah, I don't always use the right tools for the right job. I do want to get that just a little bit more snug, but I can't find a snugger upper. Okay, I'll put this back on. Maybe tighten it a little bit with the lock, possibly. And I do have a video that I'm planning to do. I am going to make a camera holder for my boat and my kayak. And it's kind of funny. So, I try to search YouTube for stuff, get ideas. And I searched and I found one. And the channel name was Fun Fishing Adventures. But it was like from 2 years ago. And so I was like, huh. I wonder if that's Scotty. It was Scotty. Had a beard and everything. And he and his buddy Shane, I believe it was, made one for the boat. And I liked a lot about it. So I'm going to do that for the kayak and my boat, because I am not doing well with this. Let me shove that a little harder. There we go. You need me to get a sticker from that earlier. Shannon, are you still here? Because I have something I want to show you. That did not come out right, but that's hilarious. It really is. And funny, from the email, the name on the email, I've recognized him from other chats. He usually gets kicked for trolling. And I kind of had a feeling that what he was going to send me was not going to be great. He's like, I'm an artist. Can I send you? I want to draw a picture of you and send it to you. Then I'm going to show it again, because this. So he sent me two. I'll show you the first one first. I mean, Yeah. He's like, okay. I made one. Yeah, it didn't look enough like you. I made one that looks more, it's like at least 80% just like you. Like I said, I don't mind being trolled. It's kind of a fun thing to do, but you have to put some effort into it. And this guy put some effort into it. I thought it was amazing. And I'm sure it's AI generated, but still just kudos, kudos. And it's amazing. I did not have, I think I only had one real troll, or other than this guy, but one dumb troll. Something I've done that you guys that are content creators may want to do is be on a computer. When you go to YouTube Studio, you can go to remember it's community moderation or settings, community moderation or something, but you can put in words, and I put in Lamar Jackson as one of those words, and the word knee followed by the word grow, because that's another one that everybody seems to post. And so if you try to post, do you want an edit for, touch the camera for an edit with Lamar Jackson? It ain't going to show up. So I got rid of the two big troll issues with that. That doesn't mean you won't get more stupid stuff, but it was fun. Anyway, Ashley said, what did she say? An hour ago, she asked me what was for dinner. So she's probably, if she's not here now, she'll be here soon. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Appreciate you guys watching. I got 40 thumbs up, which is way more than I deserve. Mike gave me a couple of super chats. I am incredibly thrilled to have. Thank you, sir, so much. I'm always surprised when somebody sends me anything. It means a lot. It tells me I'm doing something. Whether it's something good or something bad, I don't know, but it tells me I'm here. And I'm trying to get those watch hours up because I really want to hit that 4,000. I'm so close. Hey, H. Lee Osborne, you have this way, man. You seem to show up right about the time I'm closing them down every time. You deserve this because you showed up. I'm going to show this to you. And one of the guys said in chat, hey, I'm an artist. I want to send you a picture. That's what he sent me. And then he says, well, this one looks more like you. And yeah, thank you. Oh, I do want to show you guys something. This is beyond awesome. So I have a coworker that has a 3D printer, and I asked him to make me something, so he did. So I don't go in the office that often, but I went in the office, and I'm talking to my boss, and he says, "Look up." I'm like, "What?" I don't see anything over there. No, look over there. The coworker, so not the boss. He gave it to the boss. Created this. One of my other coworkers got on my Facebook and got a picture of me, sent it to him, and he's got some kind of software that turns a 2D into a 3D model. Now on the back of it looks just like smooth back of the head, but he made this, and you may not be able to see it, but down here at the bottom, he put the legend. Is that not awesome? I was blown away. I was like, that is truly amazing. Holy, no, that's me. And by totally, I think you mean like in the Mike Wazowski kind of group there. That was amazing. That when you troll by your coworkers, that is, you can't do any better than that. Anyway, folks, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. Just in case you want to do a Lamar edit, I'll see you later. Bye, everybody.